Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/ice cream uploads. My name is Green Dave. Do you know, I feel like we should do that. Whilst we have an absence of Dr. Disrespect on Twitch, we should. The name is ice cream uploads. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Graham, and this majestic, flowery beast is the man that we call.
Baby, that's me.
I wasn't sure whether would have got through or whether it would have been absolutely squashed by the RTX voice, but I'm assuming it went through fine. It's okay. You look pretty snazzy there, babe.
Cheers, mate. Not as snazzy as your hat.
Oh yeah. I've just gone to split screen so we've got a better view of Bib. But let's go big Bib so we can admire the snazziness. Yeah, look at that. You goddamn right, pal. But then back to me for this. With this hat. Yeah, limited edition ice cream uploads, and it's so limited edition that Bibby has one, and he still didn't have it in his possession. So I mean, Bib, I still have Bibby's here. This is how. Look at that Twitch glitch logo on the side.
Beautiful,
majestic. But anyway, we do have a very, very small batch of ICU hat merch. We have essentially, literally 15 hats. That's as many as we've gone to, because we didn't want to kind of go through the process of getting them designed, getting them printed. Obviously, you might have seen about a month ago we shared the first test print stitch of the embroidery of the logo, and now.
I sup hello magicum star I sup thank you magicum star Jesus Graham, you have a granny's couch covering for Bibby this morning, he not well. Send him my get well wishes kappa.
I didn't hear any of that. The RTX, mate, just dead.
Oh no, I didn't. I wasn't talking. I was listening to the TTS. Obviously, it was Madge saying the I sup hello, and then the start I sup the ICU. Jesus Graham, you are having a granny's couch covering for Bibby this morning. He not well. Send him my get well wishes kappa. Good morning, Madge.
Right,
Thank you very much for the 2-month sub, you beautiful, beautiful man. Yeah, as we're talking, we've got 15 of these bad boys. Not of this style. We only have 5 of each style because we wanted to make sure they were as good as we were hoping they would be. So we have this is obviously Bib's hat here. We have the flat peak snapback that I'm not cool enough to wear. So we have 5 of those. We have 5 of the baseball hat with a buckle cap, and then to add a little bit of color, inspired by LA Dodgers, we have the blue and white Dodger style. All of them have the ice cream uploads printed inside. Anyway, we only have 5 of each, and we have had a bit more than 15 people inquiring about how to purchase these hats. So we have to figure out how we're going to do this in a way that's fair, so everyone gets a fair chance of getting them. But yeah, long story short, we know that we can get some more now because everybody wants in on this sexy SU merch. Yeah. Matt says, "You know, I love you like a cousin. I'd acknowledge. You know, I love you like a cousin. I'd acknowledge at a wedding, babe."
Dead right. I mean, if there's anyone that's gonna pull off a granny's couch, it's me.
That sounds an interesting sentence.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I mean, it wasn't meant to be crude, but it is what it is.
Just gotta roll with it, as the Gallagher said. Anyway, Bib, what'd you get up to this weekend apart from looking majestically flowery?
I played golf, obviously, on Saturday morning in a competition. Did really, really well. Like I was going for my best ever score until the 16th hole, where when you talk about a collapse and have the fucking worst couple of holes of your life, that was it. I ended up going from 88. I was looking at finishing at way below 100. And then ended up fucking collapsing big time. I ended up 12 putting the 17th because my fucking head went. I got onto the green for 4, so I was gonna bogey it, and then my head went, and I just fucking ended up like 6 putting it. I was absolutely livid. But yeah, apart from that, got absolutely shit faced in a clubhouse afterwards because it's the first time I've been out drinking in 16 weeks. But because I've been using my phone on the course. To do my scores and stuff like that, it drained my battery. So everything that happened on Saturday afternoon and in the evening, I have no idea what was going on because I didn't read anything until Sunday morning. And then just played a bit of games yesterday after watching a lot of Shameless, watching you play PUBG for an hour or so.
Rumour has it that as Bibby was approaching hole 16, he was having a bit of a team talk with himself, going, "We cannot let this slip." We cannot.
Yeah, well, my handicap would have come down by quite a bit if it had maintained the good holes that I was having leading up to that. My handicap would have come down quite a lot, but I ended up fucking it big time. So I have to wait until this weekend to try again.
Is it the hole, or was it the mental pressure, or was it?
A bit of both. Like on the 16th, it's a par 3, but it's quite high up. But in the middle of it, there's like 3 or 4 hazards. One of them, if the ball goes in it, you have to drop it again because it's like a little river. Of course, when I teed off, I scuffed it a little bit. So it went into the river, so I had to take a drop, and then I had to chip it onto the green, and then I ended up 3 or 4 putting it. So I ended up it just ruined my round, and then going on to the 17th, I just thought I just need to get down there. I got down there and I fucked it again. I didn't have to do a drop or anything, but I couldn't get my head into it. Like after that, my head completely went. So
Well,
yeah, that's the thing. If you have one bad hole, then that's it. It's a round ruiner. You can't go back and take them shots away. So your score just ends up going up and up and up, and there's no way that you can bring it down unless you're birdie or eagle or hole in one. Of which I've only ever had 2 birdies in my life. 2 birdies in my life. So the fact that I'm never going to be able to bring my score down is always a round ruiner.
well, I consider myself pretty much a golf professional because I've seen Happy Gilmore. So just hit it in hole in one, and that's much easier. That's what I mean. When he scores a hole in one, he goes, "I'll just do that next time."
I've never fucking come close to one yet. I've never come close to a hole in one. It's ridiculous how hard it is, but that's how it's meant to be. You're hitting a tiny fucking ball, like just bigger than a ping pong ball, into a hole that's like I don't know, maybe 10 inches, and you're hitting that 170 to 200 yards. It's near on impossible.
Yeah, it's pretty much like me hitting a headshot on the run on PUBG. I don't know. I can relate. It's 100%. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, I've seen you do it, so.
But anyway, I mean, I could add, but I went to the mothership for a birthday to play PUBG, which you saw on stream yesterday. So let's just jump into the news. Speaking of PUBG, Mr. Jordan, good day, sir. How the devil are you? Manchester.
In fact, I did actually watch a film yesterday as well that I think you need to watch if you've not already watched it. It's a Disney Pixar one called Onward. Have you seen it?
I haven't. That's the one with Chris Pratt and
Tom Holland.
Yeah. I've not seen it yet. Is it good?
It's amazing. Basically, it's like wizards and warlocks in a Pixar film. It's incredible. Like I've seen it twice now, and both times Samantha's fallen asleep. So I'm probably going to have to watch it a third time, and she'll potentially fall asleep again. But if you've not watched Onward, you need to watch that film. It's so good.
Is Onward? That's not the one where the dad is gone, or is that a different thing?
Yeah, that is the one. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a spoiler because it's part of the plot. But the dad, one of the youngest child doesn't get to see the dad because he died before he was born. So he tries to bring him back, using wizardry spells that have been abandoned for 300 years. So yeah, it's just like they go on a quest to try and bring him back, but it's exactly what you'd expect from a wizard, or like if you was to play an RPG game in a wizard setting, that's what it'll be like. It's weird. It's brilliant. If you've not watched it, watch it. It's only like an hour and a half. It's not a long film.
What was it on? Disney Plus or Sky?
Yeah, I think we watched it on Disney Plus.
Oh, I've got Disney.
We've got it. So it was on when I went into the front room. It just started, so I assumed she was watching it on Disney Plus.
We'll give it a look. Still not seen Frozen 2 yet. That's one that we still want to see. Apparently, it's pretty decent. It was at my mum's and my sister saying Frozen 2 is actually really good. Well, I like Frozen.
I
So
haven't watched that. I haven't watched Frozen.
God, honestly. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Graham, as mentioned. This is Bib. We together are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. We bring you the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from video games because we are, some may say, the UK's #1 video game podcast. We are the some that say it. I say that all the time, but just to be clear, we're the some that say it. Anyway, as mentioned, obviously, my name's Graham, this is Bib, and we give you our thoughts and impressions on those big, best, and breaking stories, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions so we can have a little bit of a chat in the chat. Feel free to use the opportunity to do that. It's important that you do because we turn this into a YouTube video and an audio podcast that goes out on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play a little bit later on in the day. Everyone listening or watching on demand, hey guys, hey, how you doing? You guys don't get the ability to get involved with the chat. You can pause, fast forward, rewind, listen to Bibi saying, fall
Hello.
sweat. That too. That was the same boss way, but yeah, whatever. You can listen to him saying that over and over and over again if you want, but you can't get involved in the chat. So if you are in the chat, please feel free to use the voice on behalf of everyone else. Just as Asim Tanvir has said in the chat, Frozen 2, heard the plot doesn't really go anywhere. I was like thinking,
Is there a joke in there?
yeah, I was waiting for some sort of let it go. Just let it go. I was like, oh, okay. But
Between you and him, the dad jokes are always rife. Do you know what I mean? They're always knocking about, and I can never take Asim seriously because I know there's a punchline coming somewhere down the line.
I mean, I genuinely was expecting Asim to drop in a Frozen pun then, and I thought, oh, here he is, the melt. No? Okay, we continue. Yeah. First story of the day. Actually, let me just. What are we leading with? I did see the tweet, but I didn't see the tweet. Oh, there we go. It is what I thought it was. Okay.
PS5 and yeah. Didn't you put this as discussing now as well?
I did, yes, I did. I just wanted to make sure because even though I put it on, I was talking to myself. I didn't think we'd actually discuss. Actually, one thing I'm going to do though before I continue is kill Bibby's video and then kill the call because Bibby's about 10 seconds behind me. I don't know if everyone else notices that. Oop! Say penis.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
There we go. Okay, it's back. Yeah, there was a bit of a delay, so I'd say something, and then you was kind of like talking over the top because you're hearing the gaps like 5 seconds after I've said it. So we're like, so back into the news. Here we go. First story of the day: PS5 and Xbox Series X will achieve dream of movie quality graphics, says Epic. CTO discusses UE5's nanite technology. That's Unreal Engine 5 for those that don't know. There we go. Back into the news. Epic, actually, written by Andy Robinson for VGT. Cheers, Andy. Epic Games' chief technology officer has claimed that the PS5 and Xbox Series X will enable him to achieve his lifelong dream of delivering movie-quality visuals in video games. Speaking in the latest issue of official PlayStation Magazine UK, Epic's Kim Libery claimed the new consoles would fill his long-time goal, partly thanks to Unreal Engine 5's nanite tech, which is claimed will allow developers to put movie-quality assets in their games. Then we have a quote within the article that says, "It has been a lifelong dream of mine that real-time computer graphics, and in particular games, can be as believable and realistic as a movie," he said. "Next-gen graphics and processing power will not only make games more immersive, but will also enable entirely new gameplay concepts that can take advantage of fully dynamic environments and lighting, much improved physics, smarter AI, and richer multiplayer experiences." Epic partnered with Sony for the unveiling of Unreal Engine 5, which was shown running live on PlayStation 5 via the Lumen in the Land of Nanite demo in May. According to Epic, UE5 will allow artists to import film-quality source art comprising hundreds of millions or billions of polygons directly into the engine. The nanite technology will then scale the assets in real time, significantly reducing time spent adjusting them for game performance and with no loss in quality. In the OPM interview, Libery pointed to Epic's recent collaboration with Lucasfilm's The Mandalorian, which used Unreal Engine to create real-time visual effects for its sets, as an example of how technologies in the two mediums were converging. For many years, the movie industry has been experimenting with Unreal Engine for pre-visualization and cinematic shot design, and then last year, Jon Favreau and Lucasfilm made the leap to use Unreal to generate final pixels for in-camera visual effects on The Mandalorian, he said. Yet, there is still the challenge that the movie industry creates almost infinitely complex assets, and for real-time content, we need simplified polygon meshes and normal maps. With Nanite, a new breakthrough technology in Unreal Engine 5, we have removed the barriers. You can now create environments with full quality cinematic assets, and the engine does all the heavy lifting, resulting in some truly photorealistic results. The CTO went on to claim that thanks to features such as its asset scaling tech, Nanite, UE5 will be able to deliver both high quality results and more efficient workflows, which could broaden the technology's appeal just beyond AAA game developers. Independent developers tend to wear a lot of hats, he said. I mean, so do I. They've got shitload of hats. Ice cream uploads on. Just say. Anyway, they are designers, artists, programmers, and storytellers, and removing the time they have to spend technical details of game development allows them to spend more time on what makes their game fun and unique. He added, Unreal Engine 5 provides creators the freedom to create. Unreal Engine 5 will be available in preview in early 2021 with a full release planned to follow in late 2021. The middleware will run on PS5, Xbox Series X, PC, Mac, iOS, Android, and current generation consoles, according to Epic. Nice bit of chunky news to start off the week. Thoughts, babe?
Well, this is the direction that I would hope every single person who makes a video game based around a story and not just a multiplayer aspects of the game is aiming for. It surprises me that, well, I mean, it kind of goes without saying. It's a hand in hand comment. I want to make something that's as good as watching a film. Surely that should be every single person's game developer's dream if they're making a storyline driven game. However, I think this is probably going to be, well, it's not going to be the first generation where this is going to be achievable, because there's been some phenomenal looking games this generation and in the PlayStation 3. I mean, obviously graphics have come a long way over the last 20 years. 25 years if you include the PlayStation 1. It was obviously just polygons and it just looks rough around the edges. However, those edges have been smoothed out now, so they actually look like real people rather than blocks. So this should always be the aim of a game developer who's creating a story-driven game. If you're playing a multiplayer one, you can it's kind of, as long as it works and plays okay and it looks good, then that's the whole aim. But you've seen Lumens and the Nana. I can always forget the fucking name of that the reveal trailer. What was it called? Lumen in the night of
Lumen in the land of Nanite.
That's it. That looks like a game that I want to play, even though it was a tech demo. It looks phenomenal. It's the sound that's used inside it, phenomenal. Everything about it looks like something that I'd want to play. And if we can get more games like that, like we've had this generation, for instance, just a little bit more. You want that realism. Now, if you're a cinema buff and you're paying £15 to go and watch a film, me paying £50 for an experience in a video game, that's nothing, because I know I'm going to get a lot more out of it than going to a film to watch for an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean?
Just put the Lumen in the land of Nanite trailer on screen as well, just in case you haven't seen it. This is literally not a game. This is a tech demo, but this is probably the first tech demo that I've watched. I've already watched it like 2 or 3 times, and I'm watching it for third or fourth time, whatever it is now. Nobody ever watches a tech demo 4 times because fuck that shit I'm out. But literally, I'm sat here. Look at that. So this bit that is showing at the moment, this is nanite technology. Get out of here. So nanite is basically you spaff a huge block of data into a system, and that data is not just numbers, but visual data. That could be assets and images. And when they were saying millions or billions of polygons of data of assets, so all of those little rocks, all of those little pebbles, all of those imperfections on the surfaces of stones. You see, like down here, we've got little stones on top of stones, and all of that would usually be designed by a designer. Someone would go through and they'd put all the effort in making it look real. And the more time you have, the more money you have, the bigger a quality game is, the more designers you will have putting that time in to make it look phenomenal. And you've played games like Uncharted 4. There's some amazing sort of like scenery shots where you pretty much have to jump into photography mode to get a couple of photos from it. If not, you might as well stop playing. But like they've spent time, lots and lots of time putting that together. Whereas this nanite, essentially, you can just drop in. I'm going to simplify it massively. Your source data. Let's say you have a bunch of polygons, pre-designed rocks, and so on. You kind of throw all that in. Nanite essentially unpacks that and then just kind of like multiplies it, spreads it out, so you get all of these landscapes developed on the fly by the game that just pulls all the data and goes, this works. And it just, it's probably oversimplifying it there, but that is essentially what it does. So you end up with these really good quality. This bit, what the camera's doing here now, is zooming in, zooming out, moving around, so you can see the light and the way that it all reflects on it, and it's all dynamic as well. So they have some bits later on where rocks fall from the sky and they create dust and so on, and yeah, but now it's showing you how many individual polygons and pixels and things are in there. But that much data generated on the fly. As Bib said, we've had stuff that looks that good before, but that's requires time and effort. for something like this that can just be generated, the reason it talks about indie developers wearing multiple hats is because your indie developer has to do the gameplay, has to do the social media, has to do the press interviews and so on. His little booth at Gamescom or her little booth at Gamescom, but they also have to go through and program all of these and work with the. I mean, sometimes they don't even have any artists. There they go. This is what showing you how good it is in terms of they can move the light around on, and it's all really dynamic, works on the go because it's not one pre-designed and coloured in asset. It's fully rendered out 3D textures on the fly. So you give that to an indie developer and go, okay, superb quality graphics for all of your backgrounds and your textures and so on. Yeah, you could just go off and spend the time doing your press stuff or putting a little bit more work into the functions and the behind the scenes rather than the way it looks. So Nanite, in that essence, is amazing. The amount of stuff, the amount of freedom it gives to developers.
Yeah, it's only good news for us. I'd be interested to find out how much work it will be to take what they've given us, what they've given developers in Unreal Engine 5, how long it'll take them to get used to it. Because looking at it, and it does a lot more with a lot less. Hopefully, it won't be a massive head fuck for them to be able to get their head around it. So, like, indie developers can create even better looking games down the line because there's been a lot of indie games over the years that have been fantastic. Fair enough, they may not have been graphically amazing, but you know what to expect from an indie perspective. However, this may change the game for them. It may pique people's interest a little bit more for them to be able to go and maybe take a risk on buying an indie game rather than just the AAA ones all the time. There's people that I know that won't play indie video games because they don't like the look of the graphics or they're not too sure. They'll only play the AAA games, which is fair enough. It's your experience, it's your money. But I think there'll be a lot of people who are missing out on good indie games because they don't technically look as good as AAA games. But what do you expect?
I mean,
This
I would put
may
myself
change.
in that category a little bit. I think that kind of covers me. I am quite superficial when it comes to video games because I have so many of them and I don't have as much time. I always want something that looks big and bombastic and AAA and I mean, I'm quite simple when it comes to my films anyway. I fucking love Michael Bay films and Transformers, and a lot of people would be like, oh, it's just, there's no real story to it. I'm just like, yeah, but it's the visual feat has, for me personally, has such a big impact. I like game design and art from that sort of like top end scale. So I quite often miss out on the indie experiences that I probably would enjoy just because of my finger in the wind. Okay, there's a billion games out there, and I have to find one that looks like it'll appeal to me. That's sort of my stereotyping, my top level filter to get into a game. But if indie developers have much more ability to access that design, and then it comes down to, okay, well, what's actually the best story and what's the best mechanics and so on, then that, for someone like me, they've got more chance of dragging me in as well, which is huge.
Yeah. It's very rare that you'll find a superb looking triple indie game. There has been some over the years, but it is very difficult to be able to try and get that balance because they don't have the money to buy everything that they need. They don't have the developers to be able to get out. If you're looking at a AAA game, you're looking at a massive team of people to be able to pull these things together. But yeah, it's hopefully it will give the ability for them to level the ground slightly. Maybe not reduce the gap entirely, but just give them a chance at being able to have graphically superior games. We are moving into a different generation now, so hopefully they'll be able to get their own feel of a new generation game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think this has good potential for. I mean, a lot of people don't like remakes and remasters. There's no innovation in gaming. It's all the same stuff again. Which, I mean, I understand the argument. I mean, I'm not sold with it. Me and Danielle are currently playing through Mafia 2, which is a remake. No, a remaster, should I say, not a remake. But loving it. I never played it the first time. Job's good one, but that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that if you are wanting to remaster your game, then that's one option. Remaking it, for those that don't know, a remaster is essentially taking an old game and adding polish to it, adding new texturing so that you can upscale it to 4K rather than it just being 720p or whatever it might have been, depending on how old it is. You can get full HD 4K stunning textures, maybe some RTX in there as well. But remaking it is taking it and starting from the ground up again. So Mafia is actually a good example there. Mafia 2 has been remastered, and it looks really good. You can tell it's an older game, but it still looks really good. I'm playing it on a PC in 2020 and enjoying it, and that's what remasters does. But remaking it is taking something from the ground up and making it wow, which is. The original Mafia has been remade from the ground up. That doesn't come out until August. But using that as an example, let's say another brand has a trilogy or even just one game that came out 10, 20 years ago and wants to bring that back to a new audience that may not have experienced it the first time round. I mean, it would be so easy to take older games. I mean, let's use Metal Gear Solid, because everyone always asks for that to be done. I mean, I would love to see Metal Gear Solid 3 remade, yes, please. But all of the textures and all of the backgrounds and all of that sort of stuff, it would be easier. Let's say Metal Gear Solid was owned by a little indie developer, and they was like, yeah, we'd like to do it, but the amount of time and effort and spent to put that whole game into a 4K environment is huge. But if you've got something like Unreal Engine that says, okay, just throw us your code in here and we will spaff it out for you, and then you just go and check over and make sure it looks okay. Damn, just imagine how many opportunities people that have missed games in the past would have to be able to relive them. If it's not even a developer that you'd class as indie, but let's say I don't know, Namco Bandai, for example, they're not an indie developer, but they aren't at the scale of. I mean, someone might have stats on them. In my mind, they aren't even at the scale of Capcom, who have made some amazing remakes of their games in the last few years. Let's say if Namco Bandai or even some other developer wanted to go and pull their games from the early PS1 generation or something before that, they want to remake something from the SNES era or something like that. But taking something from the SNES era and putting it on the PS5 era or the Xbox Series X era is quite a gamble, because is there an audience still going to be there for that? The amount of cost that you put into that, are you going to recoup it? But if you could throw all of that cost away because Nanite is going to do it for you, then this offers so much potential to revisit worlds and build on worlds that have existed in the past. Or, I mean, not just new technology, new experiences and new games, but it gives brands an opportunity to revisit stuff in the past, but with that 8K texture that we all want to see going forward. So it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. A lot of work. The engine isn't released yet, so devs can't do anything just yet. I think only select few have been given preview development, and the Hellblade 2 has been given it from, so UE5 can showcase and market for release. Yeah, there was. I mean, obviously, they mentioned that their own brands obviously are going to start working on it. So Fortnite will already be full on working in it, no doubt. I mean, that probably there before even Lumen in the Land of Nanite was there. But yeah, you imagine any of the big partners that want to be running on UE5 will all have access to that already. Just NDA to the tits, because you know it does look amazing though. I'll put the trailer back on screen as we continue talking, because there's like 2 minutes left. But this bit is showing the Lumen element more than the Nanite element. So Unreal Engine 5 has Nanite, which is the ability to create textures of cinema quality, which is one of the big thing, movie quality graphics, as it says in the discussing now, rather than assets being scaled down to put into the game, because the time it takes to render those, that is kind of irrelevant now. Unreal can render so much graphics so fast at such a high quality that we can have movie graphics popping in on the fly in terms of textures. But this, now as you can see now, the difference in lighting and the way the whole background pops in, and they've got the shadows and things moving on. I mean, the bit we just kind of seen indoors with the them sort of like statues, that is the best example for the Lumen element, which is the dynamic lighting system. And this bit now just shows you it all kind of like mixed together at high speed. And if this is one technical demo, I know technical demos are polished and aren't playable and so on, but if this is what we've got as a tech demo at the start of the generation, as we've previously spoken about in the past, I think maybe Asim even brought the point up in a conversation with Jordan, the UE4 tech demo got surpassed, and everyone at that point in time was like, well, we're never going to get past this.
Yeah.
And if we get past this, just imagine. I mean,
Thank you for the ice cream.
Genius. Mudge, thank you very much for the host. And
Thanks, Mudge.
And the 2-month sub as well earlier. What a guy. Been spoiled by Mudge this morning.
Hero.
And he would acknowledge you at a wedding, which is just, yeah.
that's life goals. That.
But anyway, there we go. Let's move ahead. The PS5 and the Xbox Series X will achieve the dream of movie quality graphics, according to Epic, which just obviously doubles down on their original messaging that the UE5 engine will be class. And to be fair, if you haven't seen it, I was having a conversation with Fuzzy Pixel, aka Matt Gardner from 2K. I say conversation. We exchanged a couple of tweets about The Mandalorian. He'd just watched The Mandalorian on Disney Plus and said it's class. And I said he should look into the tech behind it because it was actually Grazity in the chat. I don't know if Grazity here today mentioned about using the LED technology, and David had previously shared it as well. Fatman Dave, good morning if you're here. Sharing how Unreal Engine uses LED screens rather than green screens to have full. Grazity is here. Hey. So using the Unreal Engine and that, what was the phrase that you used, Grazity? I couldn't remember. Was it not VR? Was it XR? Is that what you called it? But anyway, I didn't realize that there's like a full 6-part series or something on The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, which shows you like the behind the scenes or something. We have a studio set up which is fully XR. Yeah, there we go. Nice. It is class. It is class. For those of you who don't know, essentially, rather than having a green screen behind you, like I have one here on the floor, it's not pulled up at the moment, but I pull that up and it changes the background. But XR essentially has a big TV screen behind you, and then the camera essentially feeds information to it and back. So when the camera moves, the background changes in relativity as well, so the lighting and stuff. So anyway, that is why The Mandalorian looks so good. And it means that you don't have to have any post-production polishing out any green blur. So say if you've got a shiny surface, you get some sort of like the green blurs onto the shiny surfaces and stuff, and it's pretty cool. We'll send you a link now. We have a studio with XR. We'll send a link because it's amazing. Do it. I want to see it. Yeah, I would love. I mean, we have our own studio, but it doesn't have XR. It has quite good. It has some good stuff, and we've got interchangeable backgrounds, but it's literally vinyl rather than XR. So send me. I want to see. In the meantime, though, let's jump forward. We'll jump back onto that when it comes through, and it's a little bit more of a negative tone, which sometimes you have to, because it's the news we need to cover. What's happening in the world is Cian Maher from VG247 says Naughty Dog condemns any harassment towards its team and cast. So Naughty Dog has recently released a statement saying it condemns any harassment or threats directed towards its team or cast. The statement was published by the official Naughty Dog Twitter page, and you can read it below. I'm going to ignore the tweet and read it because it's in the article below. Although we welcome critical discussion, we condemn any form of harassment or threats directed towards our team and cast, it reads. Their safety is our top priority, but we must all work together to root out this type of behaviour and maintain a constructive and compassionate discourse. This comes in the wake of a barrage of harassment aimed at the studio and the people who work there. Although the initial backlash was mostly tied to review bombing The Last of Us Part 2 on Metacritic, people online have since started to individually target certain team and cast members. Laura Bailey, the renowned voice actress who plays Abby in The Last of Us Part 2, has individually received multiple threats and insults from anonymous people online in relation to her performance. Man, I tried to only post positive stuff on here, she wrote, attaching several screenshots of messages she received. But sometimes this just gets a little overwhelming. I blacked out some of the words because, spoilers. Side note, What's that?
Don't read the messages that are in it because they are spoilers.
Okay. Side note, thank you to all the people sending me positive messages to balance it out. It means more than I can say. Naughty Dog as a whole has been targeted ever since plot points of The Last of Us Part 2 leaked back in April, almost 2 months before the game actually launched. Naughty Dog Vice President Neil Druckmann said that the leaks contributed to the worst day of his life, but targeted harassment towards the studio and its employees has yet to stop. He posted his own thread displaying some of the vile, hateful messages he has received since shipping the game. You can love or hate the game and share your thoughts about it, he wrote. Unfortunately, too many of the messages I've been getting are vile, hateful, and violent. The harassment is ongoing, but Naughty Dog's condemnation shows that the studio will not tolerate any hateful messages sent to its employees. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the worst and best parts of the internet and video gaming. The best parts being a hugely influential game that shows how creative and wonderful the world of video games can be, tied up with the nasty toxic, negative aspects that want to attack people. I mean, I don't know the context of this, and I've tried to half-heartedly glance at the context of where this hate is coming from. But as I've said previously, I had The Last of Us spoiled for me. I still haven't played it yet, by the way. I'm still holding off to play on stream. I had it spoiled for me. So as a result, I've kind of kept away and kind of like tried to read stuff from skimming titles without going into the article. So I know there's a lot of shit going around, but I don't know why. Is it because people don't like the story? Is it because people don't like the characters? Yeah, tell me more. I don't know. But either way, the fact that actors are being sent hateful, vile, nasty messages because they play a character, that is fucking bullshit. I mean, if you can love a game. Video games are important. They are, and we can always boil it down to it. It's just a game. It's just a game. Okay, but we are sat here right now because video games exist. So video games are important. I'm never going to brush something off entirely and say it's just a game. Get over it. But also at the same time, it is still just a game. Get over it. For fuck's sake, it's a video game. It's important, but it's still just a form of entertainment. It could be entertainment that shapes your life. It could be entertainment that becomes the theme for your wedding. It could be entertainment that you get tattooed onto your skin or whatever. I mean, it means a lot to people, but it should never mean so much that you feel it's fine to go out and be toxic, threatening, and violent towards other people. If you're taking video games or anything that far, then you have issues. It's as simple as that, in my opinion. Austin, don't get me started on this. Oh, it's DDC. Good morning. The scoop is what you wake up for on a Monday morning. You're goddamn right it is. Yeah.
I'm going to quote that every single morning now. Thank you very much.
Disgraceful. People getting death threats. Asif says, what I will say is huge backbone on Naughty Dog for releasing a public statement backing up their employees. Wish more did that. And Asif says, indeed, 100%. And that is it. That's the bit when I was saying the worst and the best of video games. Obviously, none of this harassment ties in the best, but the best bit for me is the level of support there. Because you've just got these toxic, nasty feckers that are feeling like, oh, do you know what? I can say what I want. I can do what I want, and quite often, and it's not just video games. It's most industries. Video games, thankfully, is quite a forward-thinking industry. So probably not entirely across the board, but deals with it better than a lot other industries. But there are some that just don't. Anyway, the issue is people harass and complain and so on about these whatever reasons they think they've got to that is valid for doing that. It never is. But because these people are paying customers, quite often video games just ignore it because it's not because they think, oh, it's fine, it's acceptable. They do think it's bad, but they keep that conversation internal and go, it's fine, they're just dickheads or whatever. But they don't say anything outward because the idea is, oh, if we say something outward, we're going to piss off these people that are buying our games. And if we don't condemn this behavior, then our record-selling game might not sell as many next time. We want to sell more next time, but it might drop down, and that's not going to be good for business. So we will support you internally, but not say anything externally. It's nice to see Naughty Dog go, do you know what? Fuck this shit. That is wrong. We earn enough money. And the reason we're earning enough money is because our employees are happy and working hard. And because they're happy, they will work on the next one and the one after that. But if they get absolutely ripped down because you toxic negative stats, then they're not going to do anything. So the fact that Naughty Dog is coming out and supporting their employees, not just supporting them internally, but being a shield for them to try and protect them from getting anything externally. That is the step that you want them to see. So, I mean, love Naughty Dog as a company anyway. I've never dealt with them directly. I'm only talking from a content digestion side of things. I've consumed much of their content, and as a result of that, I've got a fondness for Naughty Dog. But after seeing this, it's only gone up on that way.
Yeah, I agree. There's not much else that I can put on the end. These people, regardless of who it's aimed at, have got problems anyway. That's the internet. Innit? Everyone has access. It's like opinions. They're like arseholes. Everybody's got one. Unfortunately, the whole world has the internet, so you can get the arseholes on the internet. It's always going to be bad news. These people can't keep the fucking gob shut. these people are the same people that wouldn't say anything to someone's face. They are fucking cowards, and they usually have a stupid username because they've had probably many accounts that have been blocked. So it won't just be a funny, unique username. It'll be like James
Dogleg
Bond.
7212.
Yeah, something like that, like James Bond 17 or some shit like that. It's just fucking dimwits. There's no other way of saying it. Like I don't know what there is to say. I will never understand it, so I can't really comment on it. All you can do is just condemn it. I've just never thought. I don't think I've ever gone onto someone's Twitter profile and just give them death threats. It's just not in my nature. It's not. I've got a sound mind. I've not been able to do that. These people have got problems, very serious problems that need to be looked at, and I hope that these have been passed on to the police to try and find out where they've come from, because these people aren't smart enough to use VPNs and stuff like that. These people are not smart enough. They'll be sat there in their front room fucking raging that something's just happened that they disagree with. Entitled gamers. These are probably the same people who pay a bit of money to go to a football match and then expect to get on at halftime. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not the striker's having a bad game. I'll do better than him. They expect to go on at halftime. Or, I don't know. It's these people are fucking idiots, and it's unfortunate that they have access to the internet, because all they're going to do is they're not going to cause anybody else any harm, because hopefully the people who they're abusing, it looks like they've got thick enough skin to be able to take it, even though they shouldn't have to in the first place. But yeah, it's I don't understand it at all.
Do you know what? Nailed it. Absolute weapons. There we go. We're not even going to give them a stronger word because they don't deserve it. They are just weapons. Jumping back through the chat, the internet piss babies are doing this because it's not what they wanted and dares to be something more than a game. Mad says some of these people are being disgusting with regards to elements of the story, which is spoilers. It's not like the VO people had any say in the game story. Disgraceful behavior. Exactly. They are literally just employees. They are voiced. They perform a script. They literally just perform. They're given a direction. They follow that direction, and they get paid, and then they leave. I know it's a bit more than that. They have more of a tie to the characters and so on, but they don't define how the story goes. The script writers and the studios behind that do it. The voice actors don't have any of that. So attacking these people, not even that. Even if they did have a way of impacting the story or whatever, you are literally attacking someone because the story that they are telling isn't the story that you want it to be. If you don't like the story, well, bug out and find another story that you do like. You don't own any story. If someone, be it a video game, be it a book, be it a movie, if it isn't how you want it to be, do you know what? It's shit. We've all watched stuff that we don't like or didn't end. Game of Thrones finale, by the way, just saying. But I'm not gonna start fucking like death threatening JR. No, that's Tolkien's George or whatever his face is. Whoever wrote Game of Thrones, I can't remember his name now. But I'm not going to start sending him death threats because it didn't finish how I liked it, even though that was on Sky as well. But still, HBO even. Anyway, tangent. I'm not going to start attacking these people because the story isn't the story that I want it to be. Sometimes stories aren't what you want them to be. Sometimes they absolutely are amazing stories and resonate with you. Sometimes they're amazing stories and don't resonate with you. That's just life. Sometimes the shit stories and don't resonate with you. That's also just life. You can't attack people because a narrative doesn't fit your
Narrative.
Yeah, exactly. That is. There's got to be fundamental flaws in people. If just because your narrative isn't met, you turn violent. That is, you need to seek help. And if you probably know this as well. If you're having to create an alternate account called James Bond 17 or whatever because you don't want it to be said under your real name, then I mean, not against anonymity online, but there is obviously a correlation with the amount of anonymity that goes behind this sort of stuff. If you're creating a second account, you already know that this is not something that you feel comfortable saying on your own. Then why do it? Why do it? Just leave it at the door. Leave it at the door.
The thing is, I would hate I'd hate the internet to be I've seen so many people say it where you have to put in like your passport or your driving license or something like that to get online, because I do think people deserve. I would say normal people. That's far too broad of a. So someone with a sound mind and respectful manners on the internet. But hey, it's the internet. You know what I mean? but it gets to a point where if social media is being used to do this, then I think that may be the only way forward, even though I never like that to be a thing. I've said to you many times that I try to use my social media as Michael Meehan, because that's me, Michael Meehan. Bibby is my nickname that I've had it. I'm still the same person. It's just that if I'm going to a convention or something like that, Michael Meehan would be the person that I would, uh,
That's the thing, though. Bibby's not an alter ego. Bibby is a
yeah,
nickname, so it's still an identifier. It's still a personal identifier for you.
yeah,
You using Bibby, even though that's not your name, is the same as me using Graham Bay, because it's your name. I know it's not, but it is. It is, and
Yeah.
that's not like you calling yourself James Bond 17, because that's no relativity. There's no relation to you there. I mean, I see where people come from in terms of you should be forced to sign up and use your real name and face on the internet. I get that. I get where it comes from. I don't necessarily agree with it entirely because I mean that's a whole deep conversation that we're not going to get behind. But yeah, if you are creating a second account to be toxic, then you know that it's not acceptable to be toxic under your real name. And if people can get past that, then they've got a lot of unpacking to do themselves before anyone can help these people realize that what they're doing is bad. But anyway,
like I said, Michael Meehan is me. Bibby is still me. But if like when I'm streaming or whatever, the chances are it's going to be. It's like I've got two types of personality. If we're going for a play test and I'm in a setting where it's professional, then I will introduce myself as Michael Meehan. I'm not going to be shouting, "You scouse bastards" and stuff like that in a playtest because that's not professional, is it? Whereas I'm more than comfortable at doing that at home. But Bibby would be the person. Like now, I'm streaming in front of you guys. That would be me, amped up a little bit and just showing my personality more. But in a professional setting, I'm obviously going to be Michael Meehan, but I'm still the same person. I'm just being a bit more professional than other times. That's just the way it is. But I wouldn't like social media to go down that route where I would have to use my full name and be professional all the time because that's not me. That's the person I would like to be in front of other people, not to piss people off and just be a little bit more professional. And yeah, I think that's the word and you need to look for. But social media is for absolutely everyone. Anonymity, it should never be granted to absolutely everybody, especially if you are being a twat online and sending people death threats, threatening to burn people's houses down. Straight away, that should be a massive red flag, and your door should be getting booted down by the police, and you should be put in the back of a police van. That's as simple as that. You cannot go around giving people shit and telling them that you're going to end their life because of something that you've played or witnessed yourself and it doesn't meet your criteria.
Yeah.
I hate the fucking fact that Liverpool have won the league this year. Am I going to go around to Trent Alexander-Arnold and burn his house down? Absolutely
not again.
Not again. But yeah, I'm not gonna do that because I am a sound human being. I will. That's just normal instincts not to go around and burn someone's house down because you don't like the facts of what's happened. I don't understand it and never will. And those people need to be locked up for a very long time because they are a danger not only to themselves but to other people around them.
Jordan says, don't repeat on stream. Strong language. We don't mind strong language in context, and I will throw out some swear words here and there. We just don't want to be over the top with it because there's no need. If you just swear it, then what's the point in having a podcast with words? Because yeah. Anyway, but I will repeat it. I've just read through it. Welcome to the internet. Just gives a voice to DICK heads. That's the stick heads, by the way. Like the ones who told Reckful to go kill himself. Then when he does go, rip, it's so sad. Remember to get help. Dickheads literally need to literally be doxxed. Nobody needs to be doxxed, but yeah, I get the sentiment behind it. There is a lot of that. You are seeing people. I mean, we had it with Caroline Flack, like some hatred towards her, and then she commits suicide because of the hatred. And people are, oh, this is shit. We need to help more. And then 5 seconds later, you see them like doing it with someone else. I mean, whether or not you like Alinity as a streamer, or as a content creator, or as an animal owner, or whatever, she is getting a lot of hate. And most people with that amount of hate, it would chip away at any thick skin you have. That much of it. If you think that her getting stick or whatever is valid, then that's your opinion. But the level of harsh toxicity, the violence and the threats and so on are constantly there all the time. These people will keep doing this until she either stops making content and the livelihood's gone, or she kills herself, and then it will get to that point where people are going, okay, this is sad. It shouldn't have got that far. But it's amazing how people don't realise that the people saying it shouldn't have got that far quite often are the people that are going
Pushing
getting
all
it
the
that
buttons.
far. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's horrendous. If you don't like, and not just Alinity as well. I'm using her as an example because I saw obviously a video of her in tears on the weekend. I mean, she threw a cat. That's not good. That's not good at all. I'm not going to say that I like her. I'm not even going to say I've ever watched the content. To be fair, but but I can instantly go, okay, well, I don't like her. I don't like her content, and I could make a complaint to Twitch or whatever, whatever you want to do, but that still doesn't give me the right to be nasty,
No.
violent, or aggressive, or threatening towards her at all. And
But you
anyone that,
blacklist her in your mind, don't you?
yeah,
That's that's just normal rational thinking.
yeah,
You
blacklist
blacklist her
on the
in your
mind,
mind.
blacklist on social media. I don't like the content, so let's not watch it. If everyone stops watching it, she doesn't make the money or anything anyway, and then job's good, and you win. You win by deleting her out of your mind and your life, not by literally trying to physically delete someone, because that's just horrendous going that far.
Yeah.
It's DDC's like I just can't understand why people want others to kill themselves. Some people are actually fucking crazy. It's a lot of people don't actually. It's mindless. It's like mindless vandalism. People destroy stuff because it's there and they don't even think about it. Quite often you'll see knobheads on the street smashing something, and they haven't thought, yeah, let's trash this so people can't use it. They've just gone, oh, let's break that, and not realizing that bus stop that they've broken, their nana's got to stand at that to get the bus into town or whatever, and she's going to be pissed wet through because there's no glass walls on it anymore or whatever. And it's the lack of thinking. So quite often people aren't thinking, I want you to kill yourself, even though they may even be saying those actual words. They might not. It's mindless. It's just empty, and it's the fact that people have got comfortable with being so threatening without even realizing what they're doing, and that's the horrendous bit behind it.
Yeah.
And it
It's so weird. I don't like Reddit. Like there is a lot of parts of Reddit that I actually enjoy, but it just seems to be for me when I've gone onto it and experienced it, it just seems to be like a cesspool of people who don't give a shit because they're hiding behind anonymity. There is obviously good parts of Reddit. I've been involved in a lot of Reddits before, whether or not it be Pro Evo and the modding scene or things like that. But there is a very small circle jerk of people who just get their kicks out of just being a horrible set of
Yeah.
twats.
100%.
And unfortunately, that is the way of the world at the moment. You can't reason with these people. You can't tell them that it's out of order because they don't care. They just literally don't care.
The thing is that like they use their high horse to be a defense as well. Madge's comment, she's done a whole lot more than throw a cat, but again, sending messages along the lines that end yourself is just despicable. I know she's done a lot more. I mean, I just don't want to draw attention to it because what's the point? We know throwing a cat is enough to go, no, you're all right. But the point is, people are using the fact that she has thrown a cat, or that she had a booby slip, or I'm not going to go through it all. I'm not going to mention all of the other stuff either. She's done stuff, and people are using that as serves her right, and it's not justification. You literally early in your life taught two wrongs don't make a right. So why is this okay? Well, she's being a bit of a dick. So yeah, death is acceptable. It's not. It never is. But people just keep going with that sort of mindset of like, but they don't. They don't want the death. They want harshness. They want something to be felt and inflicted. But the only way they're getting through is by if they go, you're a dickhead. They go, all right then, not bad, piss off, and it's not getting the impact they want. They're not feeling any emotional pain, so they go further and further and further and further until the point where they're asking people to end their own lives so that they can have, I don't know, maybe a chink in their armor or something like that. But if you're asking someone to do something like that and then they go through with it, then you are worse than what that person has done initially because there is no balance there. There is no balance there. Trolls will hide behind their anonymity and think that they're funny because people won't find out who they are. I mean, that's the thing. When I was saying, I'm not against online anonymity. I mean, there's a lot of positive stuff for it. It's a level of protection for people that are vulnerable, but it's also a level of protection for people that are malicious and nasty. So it's a difficult thing. I'm not against anonymity because you could go out in public wearing whether it's a mask, whether it's an actual like COVID mask, or whether it's a pair of sunglasses with a nose and a fake mustache or whatever. You can go out and conceal yourself in public. There's nothing wrong with that. However, if you start attacking people, the police will come and then they will take your mask off and figure out who you are, because that's what's going to happen. And it's harder to do that on the internet. I've got no issues with people having anonymity, but there should be ways that can be, your mask can be taken off, not by anyone, but by the powers that be, the necessary powers. And I know that's I didn't want to mention stuff like that because we start to fall down a black hole of who has those powers and when can they be used. And we don't need that level of conversation here. But yeah, 100%.
Yeah. One thing that I will also never stand behind is someone who gives abuse to someone. It's something that I sent you. I'm not going to say who the account was, but someone this weekend attacked somebody else, and because that person released a video saying that they're really, really struggling at the moment, they decided to delete the tweets because they wanted to clear their conscience. Again, that is never acceptable. If you are you've tweeted that out in the first place, and you've sent your thousands and thousands and thousands of followers the opportunity to find out who that person is, and then say, actually, that was wrong. I'm going to delete my tweets because I want a clear conscience.
Yeah.
That, again, don't tweet it in the first place then, 100%. You dickhead.
Yeah.
I will never stand behind it. That's not someone growing. That's someone who wants to be able to sleep at night if something bad was to happen to somebody else.
That's someone protecting their interests. That it's like you're not sorry because of the comments that you made. You're sorry because people could use those comments to come back on you.
Yeah.
So using the Caroline Flack example, people said all sorts of shit and then got pulled apart for it afterwards. And in this sort of case, and I don't know what you exactly the case because we spoke about it. This person, said loads of shit. Loads of shit then started as a result of it, and then thought, oh fuck, that can come back on me. I apologise and delete my comments. It doesn't matter because all of the hundreds of thousands of comments that came off the back of your comment still happened. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Not everyone's going to delete the tweets, are they? You've shone a light on someone that's not been the best, and fair enough. They may have, I don't want to say they may have deserved some the comments being led towards them, but people need the opportunity to be able to understand what they've done wrong, but not give them the opportunity to beat them with every single stick in the world.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
people need the opportunity to be able to grow, and I've done stupid shit in the past. Luckily, nothing was involved in social media because I never would have harmed anyone anyway. But it's just the opportunity. If you are a massive account, you have a responsibility, and the responsibility should never be to go and send some hate somewhere else.
Yeah,
I think Asim will. Me and Asim have had disagreements in the past. We have had a lot of disagreements in the past, but I've never wished ill health on him or anything. We've got over it. We've spoken to each other. We cleared the air. Everything's absolutely sound. And I think he's probably one of the nicest blokes I've ever spoken to in person and over social media. Like now, we're streaming. He's in the chat every single day. It's one of them things you get. You speak it out. You get over it. You move on. That should be it. There is no way that I would
you
never
had
wish ill health to
contrasting
anyone.
opinions and haven't sent a death threat to him. What the feck? Okay,
Exactly.
how do I delete Bibby from the internet because he's playing it wrong?
I need a new account. I need a deletion account. I need a burner account to have a go at him again. Don't I think that's
If James Bond 17 starts messaging Asim, then we know where it came from. We know where it came from. But yeah, speaking about Asim, not looking for sympathy. I'm okay now, lol. But it gets to you. I had it for 2 or 3 years in a previous role. Still to kill myself. People hoping I got cancer. Personal insults, racism, and more. Tough to deal with, especially if it's consistent. Hope this shines more of a light on it, as it's awful as it is. Yeah, it's dog shit, and I saw a lot of that. And do you know, and I've said to you before, a thick skin is good to have, but a thick skin is not something that is always present, because your mental state fluctuates. We all have good days and bad days. We all have days where we're strong. We all have days where something just gets through, something that shouldn't have got through, or whatever. Having a thick skin is useful in social media, but it's not like something acknowledgeable that I've got my skin on. It's thick, so I'm fine. You can get absolute horrible shit, and thick skin could be worn down and so on. So yeah, do you know what? GG for still being in and around video games, because you've had some horrible shit. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Anyway, I tweeted about this. It's also that's not good, but brigade justifying this somehow. But it's like the fucking Konami bomb stories. I got loads of people saying this is what you get for turning Metal Gear Solid into a pachinko machine. Okay, so because they made a piece of technology that you don't like, that's turned a game that you don't like into something else, you think it's fine to try to blow up a building with hundreds of people inside it? You
Can't
think
reason with them people.
terrorism is acceptable because you don't like their decisions on a digital property, on a game, on a story, on a narrative. Anyway, let's move on to something a little bit nicer. We're actually going to move back before we move forward, and then we'll fly through the last 2 articles because we got pretty deep. I told you it was going to be a negative conversation, but it's nice to share negative conversations with intelligent people that are up for a discussion. So thank you very much for that conversation. But this is the link from Grazity. From the XR studio. Let's watch this. This going back to the first, for a bit of context, going back to the first article, which was talking about video games having movie quality graphics. I think actually I might still have that discussing. There we go. PS5 movie quality graphics. I'll put that on the screen as we bring this video up. So this is an Instagram video. I'm gonna try and mute it. Don't want it to be too loud. So this is XR technology. So this is essentially, rather than having a green screen, having LED backgrounds. Actually, see that how the screen isn't like the full wall that's static. The camera moves and the screens behind move in relation to each other, and that's what makes the top technology work. Essentially, that's probably not the best explanation of it, but yeah. So that the screen is there, and there you go.
It looks incredible. I would dread to think how much this cost to build a studio like this.
Just think of all the wires. that's the bit. That's the bit. I mean, we've got
management is off the charts.
I mean, we've got enough wires, and we don't have a fully backlit. I mean, that all of those like screens, H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and all the other, they'll all have their own individual wires and so on. I mean, when we do esports events, we have big fake off digital screens, and the wires and stuff that come off those, it's cable management is ridiculous. So having them, but yeah, that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Close that down. Get rid of that. Where's the link? Madge says, being that public face behind the big corporation, people are going to give you dog's abuse as they have in their mind no other way to vent their frustrations up. Doesn't excuse it as public servant myself. While I empathise with the customer, it doesn't lessen the stacked effect. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're right to vent and frustrate, but you can still do that as a person, as just a contributing member of society. You don't have to just be an animal, because animals aren't in society and they should be treated differently. So if you want to treat people like you are an animal, then should we treat you as an animal? Do you eat out of a bowl on the floor? Do you? Anyway. There's venting frustrations, and then there's this. No excuse for stuff like that. Simple as for me, 100%. Totally agree with you on this one. Asim Tanvir says, match. Wishing death on anyone is never acceptable. And then Asim in response to Bib says, wait, we cleared the air? Question mark.
Did we? Oh shit. Okay, let me get back to it then.
David says, if I was going to kill anyone who pissed me off, Graham wouldn't be here. And he liked to try to annoy me at times. David's my brother, by the way. So, yeah, that's where that comes from. People take video games way too seriously these days. It's been happening for years. Like the guy who destroyed a sword in an MMO for a joke because he already had one and this guy wanted it. So he flew and stabbed the guy to death. Okay. The video's quality, by the way, Grazette. Oh, damn, that's it. Yeah, that is class. That is class. And that's now the next upgrade for the Ice Cream Upload Studio when we finally get back into the office. Yes. No, it probably isn't. It's not. It's not really. We're joking. Anyway, let's move forward. And we'll jump into some. Let's get away from consoles. Let's get into PC with a hint of console. As VG247's Cian Maher writes this article saying, Horizon Zero Dawn PC prices skyrocket due to people abusing VPNs. So Horizon Zero Dawn PC prices have drastically increased in certain countries as a result of people abusing VPNs and attempting to purchase the game from different regions. A significant amount of people in affected countries have taken to Reset Era and Reddit as a means of communicating the issue. I know there's a thread about HCD coming to Steam, but this is more about regional pricing and how people from rich countries can screw over poor countries by taking advantages of it, wrote one poster on Reset Era. So when Steam opened up pre-orders on Horizon Zero Dawn, the price of the game in Argentina was 539 pesos. Chucky! Again, Chucky dropping a gifted sub in the channel. This time, the Vernimator. Enjoy Vern. If you are here, feel free to tell Chucky boy thank you very much, because it's nice to share the love. But Chucky, once again, you absolute ledge. Building even more of a gap as that all-time gifted sub leader at the top of the board as well. That's 12 in the channel. Cheers, Chucky. What a guy. What a guy. Where was I back in the so when Steam opened up pre-orders on Horizon Zero Dawn, the price of the game in Argentina was 539 pesos, which is about $7. Overnight, that price went up to 2,100 pesos. That is because the amount of people buying the game using a VPN to get the game cheap. In the end, I just wanted to vent a little and bring awareness that if you're in a first world country and abuse regional pricing to get games cheap, you're actively hunting people that most likely have a lot less income than you. I'm guessing that's supposed to be hurting. The post concludes. A comprehensive breakdown of increases in affected countries has since been posted on Reddit. Argentina, as mentioned above, is top of the list, having seen a massive 389% price hike since non-Argentinian Steam users have attempted to purchase the game using a VPN. Turkey is not far behind with a 357% increase, while Russia has the third most drastic inflation at 301%. Excuse me. Interestingly enough, as a result of this, the game can now be cheaper on EGS Steam. EGS? I don't know what that is. Am I missing?
I don't know what that is either.
On EGS than Steam. Epic Game Store. There we go. There we go.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's so obvious when you know, innit? It's so obvious.
Yeah. Just that was. I think the numbers just kind of baffled me, thinking it was some sort of like I don't know, DAO. Blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, interestingly enough, as a result of this, the game can now be cheaper on Epic Game Store than Steam, despite Epic Game Store prices being a bit higher than Steam's when the game was listed on the stores, concludes the post. This is because the Epic Game Store has not seen any price increase. Other commenters disagree. Steam price in Indonesia didn't increase, but Epic Game Store price did, wrote one user. It was $14.44 at the start, but it's now $18.99. Ironically, it's actually cheaper now because of the $10 coupon. So it's gone above the $50 threshold, so you can use the $10 coupon and get it for $8.99 today. So Horizon Zero Dawn launches for PC on August 7th. Its sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, is currently scheduled for 2021.
You see, the reason I put this in the news is because I didn't know that based on how popular a game is, the price goes up in Steam. Did you know that?
I didn't. I thought it was like humanly controlled.